So I was editing this video and I realized that it's kind of long. So I wanted to give some shout outs in the beginning of the video before we got into the guide. These are the people that really have that information out there accessible. I use some of the images from Wowhead and some of their guides to kind of go over some stuff. Fu, thank you for the Wowhead guide. Aleem, great job on the Icy-Veins. Stealthy, the method guide's great. And then Shindig as well. Thanks for letting me sit around in your Discord and help people out and answer questions, do your FAQ guide, all those cool things. So without further ado, let's get back into the video. Hope you guys enjoy. What's up, guys? My name is Jordy, and this is my guide on how to play Sub-Rogue in 11.2. Due to the recent bugs for Assassination, the spec is playable, but obviously it's missing out on some cooldown sinks and it's missing out on some priority damage. So Sub-Rogue is a good alternative for right now until those bugs get fixed, or if there's any kind of tuning passing or anything like that. Sub-Rogue does really good single target. It has a very good profile for damage amps, and it has a good profile for funneling damage into a priority target, and also does decent AoE. So with Sub-Rogue kind of being popular right now with the bugs to Assassination, I figured now would be a really good time to put together a quick guide so you guys can start playing Sub-Rogue in PvE content. So let's dive in. Sub-Rogue is a fast-paced spec that requires a lot of pre-planning and reaction in order to maximize your damage. The main cooldowns for Sub-Rogue are Shadow Blades, Flagellation, Shadow Dance, and Symbols of Death and Cold Blood. And these cooldowns work together to create a huge burst of damage, some of the highest bursts in the game. Your main builders are Backstab and Single Target, outside of Dance, Shuriken Storm when there are multiple targets present, and Shadow Strike. And the conditions you use these builders are fairly straightforward with the exception of some funky interactions with Backstab. Due to the talent Dance Macabre, you can stack bonus damage to your builders and your finishers, but in order to gain the stacks, you would need to use a different ability, whether it's a finisher or a builder, to generate the stack. So when you go into your Dance Symbols window, your first global is going to be Backstab, and due to premeditation, it will generate full combo points, so you're not missing out on any combo point generation. And another instance where a builder might feel wrong to press is Shadow Strike and AoE. Instinct tells you to press your Shuriken Storm and AoE to generate combo points. But because of the way Sub-Rogue does their damage, all their damage comes from their finishers, and your hero talent is a buffed finisher that is generated by your Shadow Strike, you want to hit Shadow Strike inside a Dance to try and guarantee that you're going to get that hero talent proc inside of your Shadow Dance windows. Next, we'll be going over the finishers that you have available to you as a Subtlety rogue. Your main finishers are Eviscerate, Black Powder, Secret Technique, and Rupture. And the use of these abilities will determine your damage output, and it's very important you're hitting the correct finisher under the correct conditions. Eviscerate is your single target finisher, Black Powder is your AoE finisher, Secret Technique is your hardest hitting finisher and should be used in both scenarios and with each Dance and Symbols window. But we will get more in depth on these finishers in the rotation section. Next, I want to go over the hero talents. I won't be going over Deathstalker only because it is non-competitive for Sub-Rogue, and Trickster will be played in Mythic Plus and Raid content. Trickster is a very passive talent tree that grants Sub-Rogue some needed cleave and adds to their burst windows. And the main capstone for Trickster is Coup de Grace. And then we're going to touch on some talents in the tree that kind of tie everything together and make the hero talent spec flow. First up, we have Phased. Phase is going to apply a debuff to your target in which they can't parry you and they'll take additional damage. And it also applies an Unseen Blade stack. Unseen Blade feeds into your Coup de Grace, so at 4 stacks of Unseen Blade, you will generate a Coup de Grace, and Coup de Grace will replace your Eviscerate, and it'll hit as if there was 5 additional combo points spent as well, so it hits pretty hard. Next up, we have Flawless Form, so when you generate a stack of Unseen Blade, or you use Secret Technique, you'll generate a stack of Flawless Form, and these stacks can overlap, and it's going to make your finishers do additional damage. Nimble Flurry is going to make your abilities cleave, similar to Blade Flurry on Outlaw. And then this one's very important. This is Disorienting Strikes. Disorienting Strikes is the reason why we pressed Secret Technique as our first finisher in our Shadow Dance windows. It's going to guarantee that our next 2 generators, either Backstab or Shadow Strike, are going to generate a stack of Unseen Blade. So you can see kind of why that's important in our dance window when we're doing additional damage, is we're going to almost guarantee that we're going to get a coup de grace in our dance window. So next we're going to get into our 11.2 tier set. This time around, the tier sets are designed around our hero talents. Our 2-set bonus is going to be buffing our Unseen Blade by 35% and giving it a 35% chance to refresh its cooldown immediately, which means if you do get that reset, you'll be able to stack another Unseen Blade immediately after. Our 4-set is going to allow us to use a second coup de grace within 5 seconds of our first one that's going to deal bonus damage. So the 2-set and the 4-set are pretty big net damage gains. So when you're gearing and you're looking for your tier pieces and you're wondering if you should break your old tier sets, the answer is yes, immediately. As soon as you have a 2-piece available to you, you should be equipping that. This way you're not missing out on any potential damage gains that are going to make some of your progression or some of your key progressions a lot smoother. So next we're going to talk about some crafts. For crafting, you want to prioritize getting a main hand weapon, and you want to use elemental focusing lens on that weapon, and then you want to craft a wrist piece with elemental focusing lens as well. The caveat to this is, though, if you're like me and you swap a lot between Assassination Rogue and Subtlety Rogue, you're better off crafting Dark Moon Sigil Ascension and a Withering Armor Banding on those pieces, as it's going to give you the flexibility to move between both specs. So next we're going to talk about some trinkets. You have a couple trinkets that drop out of raid, and you have a couple that drop out of M+. Your best trinket dropping out of raid is going to be the Unyielding Nether Prism. This drops off of Fractalus. Your next trinket is going to be the Araz's Ritual Forge, which drops off of Forge Master Araz. You have the passive trinket Astral Antenna that requires you to pick up some orbs as they float to you. That's going to be dropping off of Lumathar. And then for M+, you have the improved Sephorium Pacemaker that drops out of Floodgate. And then for the on-use M+ trinket, you have Lily of the Eternal Weave. So for trinkets, if you have a combination of any of these trinkets, you make sure that you sim, as always, with any piece of gear, even trinkets. The only funky one here is the Nether Prism, as it is a stacking trinket that you're going to use later in an encounter because you want to use it while it's fully stacked. So you'll probably use this around 3 minutes, or maybe 3.5 minutes, depending on if you're holding. But this is going to be fully stacked by then, normally in a fight that long, or close to. You'll send this with your main cooldown, Shadow Blades, and you're going to get those 18 stacks of agility for 20 seconds, and it's going to last throughout your entire cooldown window. And you can run 2 unused trinkets. You could run the Nether Prism and the Ritual Forge together. You'll just use the Ritual Forge on cooldown, except for when you're going to use your cooldown set with the fully stacked Nether Prism. This is a nice little bridge closer, gap closer, whatever you want to call it, so you don't feel like you're missing out on any kind of burst damage or anything like that in your first couple sets of cooldowns. So in this clip, I just want to showcase some of the potential bursts that Sub Rogue has. I'm walking into this boss with a fully stacked Nether Prism, and we're also pulling 2 crabs on top of the boss. I make a mistake in my opener. I send my Cold Blood with my first secret technique on accident by pressing the wrong keybind, but you can see that the damage that I do is still pretty insane, and with the additional 2 targets, it really skyrockets. So this is the kind of thing that you practice and you can perfect with Sub Rogue, and it feels really good to play, and it feels really good to do some of those big numbers there. So now's the point of the guide that people are probably going to want to see the most and might skip to. It's going to be the rotation guide. I'm going to go over quickly single target and some AoE stuff as well for M+, and I'll go over some tricks and tips for you guys to make sure that you're landing those cooldown windows the way you're supposed to. So I have an action tracker down here above my details damage meter. You guys can follow along with that. But I'm just going to go into the standard opener, and then I will post the opener on screen as well. And then you can kind of just follow along with the priority and the opener. So here goes nothing. I'm going to go ahead and hit this target dummy, and you guys can check out the rotation. I'll try to point out anything that's need to know information. Mostly like times where you want a Shuriken Storm in between your coup procs, things like that. So here we go. Shadow Strike, Flag, Rupture, Symbols Dance, Blades, Secret Technique. Got a coup proc there. I'm going to Shuriken Storm here so I don't munch Unseen Blade proc. And then boom, I got 4 Unseen Blade procs. I got really lucky there. So I'm going to go into my next dance with Cold Blood. Normally, Shadow Blades would still be up for that coup de grace and that secret technique, but I just kind of wanted to showcase as it came up some of the cool interactions with the tier set. So now we're just waiting for our big cooldowns to come up. In this window, you can send 2 dances, 2 symbols, and 2 secret techniques. So secret technique, coup de grace, Shadow Strike, coup de grace, Shadow Strike, Eviscerate. Then we're just going to build up. We're going to get our Rupture back. And then we'll go into our second dance outside of cooldowns. Secret Tech, Finisher, coup de grace, Shadow Strike, coup de grace. And then that's it. So after that, you're sitting on your hands basically. You're waiting for your cooldowns to come up. What you can do here is in the last 10 seconds, you can kind of just auto attack the dummy. Or if you're at max combo points, you can spam backstab and you're building up your Shadow Technique procs. So you want to kind of build these up. These are going to give you your combo point generators and refunds inside your next dance window. So we're going to go into our next dance window. Coup de grace, no refund, Shuriken Storm. Kind of slowed down the rotation there, so I'm behind on my dance charge, but it's okay. Oh, I ended up not using it on accident. That's okay. You get the idea. So, I'm just going to throw that on cooldown. So now, in this second break time between your second set of cooldowns and your third set of cooldowns, normally you're only going to want to send 1 dance. Eventually, over time, because of the CDR, your stuff isn't going to line up anymore. So where you can do 2 outside and 2 inside, 2 outside, 2 inside. Eventually, you'll do 2 outside after your first set, and then 2 inside, and then you'll do 1 outside, and then you'll get back to your 2 inside, and then you can do 2 outside, and then 2 inside, and then 1 outside again. Normally the fight won't last that long, but the whole idea, the whole purpose, the whole shebang of what makes your cooldown window so huge and so big is that you're getting 2 Shadow Dance windows inside of your Shadow Blades. You're getting with 2 symbols and 2 secret techniques, and as many coup de grace as you can. So it's important that in your Shadow Blades you're not munching those unseen blade procs. So you saw in that that clip there, I wasn't munching my unseen blade procs when I was in Shadow Blades. I was using Shuriken Storm when appropriate to gain those combo points back to send my next coup, or to get enough combo points to send the first coup. Outside of Shadow Blades, you can just hit Shadow Strike. It's not that big of a deal. And then towards the end of the fight, you'll have full stacks of Nether Prism. You'll send that with your whichever Shadow Blade set it lines up with. You'll send it there, or if you have a damage amp you're waiting for, you send it there. It's a very versatile trinket. Once it's fully stacked, does a huge, crazy amount of damage. Hello, I'm editing still. Forgot to mention one optimization in your burst window with your blades and flagellation. So Cold Blood, I mentioned it earlier in the video. I didn't really go into detail about how to use it in the rotation part. So just a quick little insert here. Your Cold Blood, you're going to want to send with your second secret technique inside of your blade and flag window. It's going to be the most buffed secret technique you'll get in the cooldown window. So you just want to save your Cold Blood for that. And that's it. All right, back to the AoE stuff. So for AoE, I'm gonna change my talents here. In AoE, you just run Replicating Shadows and Finality over Improved Shadow Techniques and Planned Execution. These are the Wowhead builds. You could run Shuriken Tornado. I don't like to run it. It's clunky. It doesn't feel good. It's good for AoE if you're just trying to do AoE padding or more AoE damage. This build sims better for me in Mythic Plus than the Shuriken Tornado build. So for AoE, your opener essentially stays the same with some minor tweaks. The biggest tweak is that when you don't have a coup de grace stack and you don't have secret technique, when you have 4 or more targets, you're hitting black powder and you're hitting shadow strike to generate your combo points inside shadow dance. So you're not hitting Shuriken Storm in shadow dance unless you don't get refunds between your 2 coup stacks uses and you're in shadow blades. But other than that, the clunkiest part is using a single target builder to generate your combo points into an AoE finisher. It feels weird, but you get used to it, and then eventually it becomes muscle memory. You see how many targets you have, you're like, okay, I know I got a black powder here. But the main thing is that you always send your secret technique first into your dance, and then you don't munch your unseen blade procs in your shadow blades, and then you're shadow striking in AoE while your dance is up to get full combo points. So we'll just do a little demonstration here. Go in. Just gonna put some growths on as many targets as I can that are gonna live the entire duration. And then go into my cooldowns. And then I'm shadow striking, black powdering until I get coup. No luck yet. So unlucky set. Okay, I got it. And then outside of dance, you're just Shuriken Storm, keeping your ruptures up on targets that are going to live the duration, and you're just hitting black powder. And then same rules apply for cooldown lineups. You can be a little bit more dynamic in Mythic Plus just because some of the pulls might last a little longer than others, and you don't really want to send if you're going to go into the next pack. So just keep that stuff in mind when you're doing the AoE rotation. But yeah, I mean, I know Sub-Rogue sounds difficult on paper, but once you kind of learn the rules and you kind of get the basics down as far as keeping it so you have 2 shadow dances in your shadow blade windows and 2 symbols, you're gonna do solid damage. There's instances where you'll have like no dance charges, or you gotta save a dance charge, but you have 3 symbols up going into your flag, but you can't send it with the shadow blade. So in that case, what you'll do is you'll use a symbol. It's called the dry symbol. I gotta fix my macro. I sent 2 of them there on accident. But you just symbol and then secret tech, and then just go into your basic priority in whichever stance you're in, outside of dance or inside of dance. You just go into that. So as far as rotation goes, I think that's pretty much it. There's some things maybe I could have explained better, but I just wanted you guys to get the gist, play with it a little bit, kind of learn the muscle memory, the reaction, things like that. And then being able to read logs is a big one too. So if you understand what the rotation is supposed to look like, it's going to make you reading logs much easier. You're going to know what these top guys are doing. That's what I do. I always do a compare log. I always find a fight log that's similar in kill times to my group. And I always kind of try to compare, when I'm sending my cooldowns compared to them, where they're getting their extra damage from, where I could be doing more damage, things like that. So I think with that, I think we covered everything. It's kind of a long video. This was my first guide really that I kind of felt like I went in depth, and it's the first one I made in a long time. So if you guys stuck it out to the end, I really appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be working on some other rogue content, maybe some uploads of some keys, maybe some log reviews, maybe some mythic raid fight reviews, things like that. So I really appreciate you guys coming out, looking at the video, watching it, and then reaching out to me in Discords. I know a lot of you have reached out to me personally, asking to look at logs or go over some things. And I'm not the best player in the world, but I do understand the fundamentals, I think, pretty well. So I appreciate you guys looking to me and coming to me for that kind of stuff. But until next time, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the guide. I hope it answered a lot of your questions, and see you on the next one. Thanks.